Hey everybody, we hope you're having a good holiday week. This one is Fitness Lying Down. These guys are not only hilarious, but they have such a unique concept. They're based out of La Crosse, Wisconsin, out of the old La Crosse footwear building, which just happens to be where Pearl Street Brewery is housed. Coincidence? Maybe not so much, but anyway. Great episode, different way to think about things, coming from a couple different angles from both Anthony and Cory, which are pretty enlightening just because they are so different. But we want to make sure that you check this one out in full because there's some great things in there. Along with that, sign up for the T18 newsletter. We've got a brand new core video brought to you by Dr. Kyle and his wife, Dr. Erica, that we want to send to you. But make sure you sign up for the newsletter in order to get that. Enjoy the episode.
Very good. Well, we are here in the old La Crosse footwear building and with Cory Cripe and Anthony Dix at Fitness Lying Down. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation we're going to have here, learn more about you guys. We were talking about asking questions when we're setting up, and there's a lot that I have, and we didn't get into it yet, so we're saving it for the episode here. So thanks for being here, guys.
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Thanks, I guess, for having us here.
Yeah, that's true.
Thanks for being here.
You're welcome.
So, a little introduction material. Anthony, functional movement screen levels 1 and 2, youth fitness specialist in high school, strength and conditioning coach through the International Youth Conditioning Association, correct? And then for Cory, BS in exercise and sports science from UWL with an emphasis in fitness and concentration in strength and conditioning in 2001. CSCS through the NSCA and FMS level 1 certified through functional movement systems as well. And then a new one that I hadn't heard of before is a DVRT master instruction, and that is master instructor, and that is a dynamic variable resistance training. Is that correct?
Correct.
Cool. So just starting off, tell me, what is that?
The DVRT?
Yeah.
Okay, so the DVRT is, those are the people that have created the ultimate sandbags. And so it's more than, they get it a lot where people are like, oh, you're the sandbag people. And it's like, no, they're more than the sandbag people. They've created this training protocol, I guess, this system of dynamic variable resistance. I mean, it all just says it right there. So it takes it like always beyond like barbells and things like that. It's like, how can we make it more of a practical experience, going, we always talk about like the 3D training, all the dimensions, but it does that using kettlebells, and the ultimate sandbags are coming out with more tools, things like that. So, Anthony, you're DVRT level 1, right? Because you have to so there you go, a little prop in there for you.
There you go.
Yeah. It's just, we experienced, actually that's where we met in Chicago 5-6 years ago.
Something like 4, maybe?
Okay, maybe.
Yeah, it was something like that, yeah.
But it was through the Perform Better Summit.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
It was actually funny. I was wearing it said lacrosse rugby on my shirt, and we were at the hands-on workshop for the Ultimate Sandbag. Josh Henkin, that's the creator of the DVRT system. And Anthony comes up and he's like, hey, is that like lacrosse the sport, rugby the sport? Is that like Lacrosse City rugby? I'm like, Lacrosse City? He's like, I live in Lacrosse. He's like, cool. So, the relationship actually started in Chicago. And it's just, as soon as I put my hands on an ultimate sandbag, I was like, this is so, I hate to use the word cool, but it's like, this has got so many aspects to it, because at that time I was actually starting to get burnt out of fitness, like the whole rep sets, and just like working with people, seeing them like sweat, burn calories, they're always like, yeah, I feel strong and all that, but it's just like, it just wasn't enough for me. It was like, there's more to fitness than just this whole confined, and I thought I was in a functional world of fitness, but, so hanging on to the ultimate sandbag, realizing that there's just so much more out there than what, I was used to, really got me excited. And so I just kind of kept prodding, watching a lot of the YouTube videos. Those guys are great at just putting out information. They just got a lot of free stuff out there. And then when the irons finally struck, because the job I had at the time, I was working in a corporate fitness setting here in La Crosse, and I brought it to my boss's attention. I mean, I basically got whatever I wanted. And I'm like, hey, Ultimate Sandbags, let's get them. She's like, you're going to kill somebody with those. And I might have sent her the wrong video, because they're doing this like reverse lunge coming up, bags around, and we're working with people with disabilities.
Okay.
And it's like, but there's more. And she's like, I don't want to hear it. She's like, somebody's spine is going to break. No. I'm like, oh man, sucks. And so, I mean, as soon as I had the opportunity personally to get an Ultimate Sandbag, I did. And then as our huge purchase is like, we're getting Ultimate Sandbags. The gym is going to be formed around Ultimate Sandbags. And then the DVRT system is just something that we've adapted into our training as well. So there's the 2 different levels, level 1, level 2, and then you can work your way into the master trainer, which I kind of unofficially, I have to go in September to the powwow meeting. And then I think I go through some initiation or something, and then I'm official. But they're labeling me as master trainer, so I'm just going to put it out there that I'm master trainer. It's like, I always think about Lego Movie, the Master Builders. I know you're not a big, but it's like, yeah. So in September, you have to start calling me Master.
Yeah, that's, okay. Well, I already started, so I guess I'll hold back. Right.
Well, not to my face yet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
that's my business partner. He's the Master.
There you go.
Anyway, so.
Everything.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that's the DVRT. I mean, it's just such a different concept of what we're being fed by mainstream fitness. It's so much more than what the education gives us in college. I mean, and the university's hamstringed. They can't give you everything. But man, some of this stuff they got to start incorporating, because their fitness students will become more on fire. Because it's like, yeah, we can talk more about that, but it's just so much more. And it's just exciting because they're always coming out with stuff.
Well, it's just awkward, I'm imagining just the awkwardness of it is that much more challenging than just like a stiff barbell or something like that, where it's just incorporated.
Massage guy Kyle we interviewed.
Yeah.
He just had these things, he calls them vlogs, and it's a water-filled physio ball. And he was, picking it up, throwing it over, or setting it over like a squat bar. He used to go and work out at his house, and those were...
I tell you, I used to do that. And actually,
interesting.
The Ultimate Sandbag itself, you have the shell, but they have filler bags inside.
Okay.
And they have aqua filler bags as well.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, but I've actually, at my previous job, I did that same thing. I got the concept, like, well, that's kind of cool, And so you do some chops with the ball or some, going back and forth, because the way the water sloshes, it's a whole new experience. But the sandbag training is kind of funny, because sandbag training used to be known as like the poor man training. You just get a burlap sack, you duct tape it, and but the cumbersome, the awkwardness of it, that's how you really build the strength, because not everything has pretty handles in real life.
Right.
And so there's just so much more carryover to learning about how to engage properly your core as you move with the bag. So.
And just adaptability too. It can conform to you. You can hold it or have it sit on you in different places, and you don't have to worry about it digging in or being, and so it really helps you kind of move and, do movement that's loaded as opposed to doing exercises.
Yeah, I always like to say the Ultimate Sandbags goes where barbells can't. There's just so many things that, there's different power clean variations, different snatch variations that you just really can't do with it. Can you rotate and pivot? And, maybe you could, but you better have a lot of space.
Right.
With a sandbag, it's like, boom, there I am. So I get that rotational power where it's like, just exploring.
Are they pretty durable too?
Yes, we've got some that are, this is the first one I have. So that's like, 3 years ago? I haven't refilled it with sand. Some of them, I think, the ones that get used a lot, people tend to kind of let them pound a little bit more on the ground. So the filler bags lose a little bit they're really durable sealed.
They're Velcroed shut. And
the filler bags are.
Over time, that Velcro will get loose, and this, sand will find any way it can.
Right.
So you get some powder.
Okay.
And so then it's time to kind of.
Yeah, you just get another filler bag. The shells themselves will be probably forever.
Yeah.
Unless somebody starts breaking the handles a little bit. But
For sure.
you just get a filler bag, and they're not overly expensive. Sand is pretty darn cheap.
Yeah.
So so they're great to have.
Nice. The handles don't come off very easily.
There's a few that I've kind of.
Yeah, there's a couple that are starting to wear out. But
just poor. And it's actually.
I've stitched my fair share of things back together, just making stuff up, and it seems to work out.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just I found out it's more due to the fact of holding on to it wrong. You're supposed to be holding on more to the middle of the handles. Tends that people will start hanging on to the back end.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to do a clean like that, you're going to end up not necessarily snapping, but you kind of warp the handles a little bit. But if you got that firm middle grip, not a problem.
Very cool. So we kind of touched on the sandbag stuff, but what is fitness lying down, just in general? Like, tell us about you. Yeah.
All of them, because I really want to know what's behind the name.
Why don't you give them the official, like, professional answer about get back to ground?
based,
Yeah, the boring one.
Okay. Well, a lot of the stuff we do is ground based, you know. And so if you think about kind of the developmental model for humans, you know, when you're born, you have tons of mobility, but really no stability, and you start your life on the ground, right? And so you use the ground, you interact with it, and your body trains itself in order to pick your head up, in order to push up, to roll, to sit, kneel, crawl,
Another person that I know.
and then walk. You know, and so like I didn't teach my kids to walk; they just learned it from their environment, you know, and the way they're wired. So a lot of people, you know, they're born with good movement, and then over time they lose it because of injuries, repetitive jobs, sitting, whatever. And so a lot of them come in here and they don't know how to move anymore. Their body's kind of lost that, or they've adapted in a negative way. And so we take a lot of people down to the ground and now use the floor and the environment as a way to kind of reconnect some wires and re-spark something that they lost. You know, we're not creating something new. We're finding something that was buried in the back corner, and their body starts to respond appropriately. And now they learn how to, you know, actively, you know, integrate their whole body and move better and get more mobility and stability. So we start kind of lying down and kind of build you back up. So that's kind of the official kind of answer. There's some tongue in cheek in it as well,
Right.
you know. But yeah.
Well, and so my side of the story is, you know, because this is like a marriage, you know, a partnership. So we came from different backgrounds, and you know, we brought things in. So prior to us, you know, when I first met Anthony, he had Cooley Region boot camps downtown, you know, and he was working it down there, and I was working at my corporate job. But we had this same kind of like love for fitness and seeing that there's just more than what people are attuned to here in La Crosse, you know, especially just Midwest period. And so the job I had, I was starting to get really more into more natural movement stuff and, you know, exploring more. Like I said, I was getting tired of just the usual gym exercises that, yeah, I mean, if you're a bodybuilder, powerlifter, great, but if you're Joe, Jane, Doe, they have no practical implications for your life. And so the previous boss I was talking about, you know, like, it was great. They built this brand new wellness center, and they hired me, and I was there for almost 9 years, and it was like my program. And like I said, I mean, I had a lot of say because nobody else knew anything about fitness except they watched The Biggest Loser or something like that. So when I wanted to order a TRX, you know, they're like, great, I saw that on The Biggest Loser, you know. And I didn't even want battle ropes. She's like, can we get some battle ropes? I'm like, really? Yeah, I saw it on The Biggest Loser. I'm like, okay, you know. And can we get a heavy bag? Biggest Loser? Yeah.
Network television, apparently.
So,
flip the script.
but you know, now I would have loved to see what happened if the Ultimate Sandbag made its way to The Biggest Loser.
Right, yeah.
But so as I started, and like I said, I was working with people with disabilities. So as we're talking about, I mean, like that developmental pattern of learning.
Yeah.
How great is it to get people on the ground experiencing again, like just the rolling, rocking, spinal mobility, the neurological components of your skin touching the ground, just that whole sensory thing. Wow, you know, I mean, just the enrichment. And one day, so I started falling out of favor because I started incorporating this, and apparently I didn't have the approval to do so. And this is the first time out of 9 years that it's like I needed approval to change exercises. And she was really adamant against it. I mean, at one point she's like, this just looks like yoga. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I've never done yoga, but all right. And then she was going back like by just people rocking, right, on their spines, that I was going to break somebody's spine, we're going to have a lawsuit. I'm like, really? You know, and she would never try it. And at one point, I mean, I don't know how sensory we are here, like, you know, she told her, she's like, you got to stop doing all this fitness lying down shit. I'm like, okay. You know, I mean, I never thought about it. But then as I was doing this, and so, you know, we had people with disabilities, but then we had more higher functioning, just yous and me's kind of people. Now, I found out everybody has a dysfunction and disability, but, you know, more of our higher functioning people. And they're like, man, you should really, like, write stuff about what we're doing here, because I don't think anybody does this. I'm like, well, some people do it, just not here. Right. And so I started a blog, you know, and I went through WordPress, and, you know, I'm just, said, you better come up with something kind of unique. And I'm like, fitness lying down. I'm like, why not? You know, just total tongue in cheek. I'm like, thank you. And actually, the funny thing is, I got a phone call from them asking if it was an adult website.
Oh, wow.
I had
That's
to put
hilarious.
that together.
Yeah. No, there's been some tongue in cheeks with clients, kind of. It's like, all right, we're past that. Let's move on.
Right.
And so and then I wanted to promote it with a Facebook page. So Fitness Line Down Facebook page, and it kind of just evolved from there. So it was kind of getting back at her, I guess, and just having a good time with it, because it's hard to say Fitness Lying Down without smiling. Sure. You call up, you're getting your internet set up. Yeah, what's the name of your business? Fitness Lying Down? Really? Yeah. You lie down sometimes. Just like,
What a conversation starter.
It really is. It's a big icebreaker. So I mean, it's just, and I get tired of like the all these crush gyms and all this. Just like let's just set expectations a little bit differently and see what we get. And so it's been pretty good so far.
Nice. I like it. That's very refreshing to hear all of this. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with dynamic neuromuscular stabilization or DNS technique, but
A little bit now.
everything you said, I mean, is that principle.
Yeah.
You don't teach a baby to roll over or to crawl, and it's just kind of inborn patterns that go through. So that's pretty sweet that you guys are incorporating that into fitness.
Mm-hmm. And it's just funny because when you do that kind of stuff, like if I just have somebody rolling side to side, I try not to be too descriptive about it, and they're like, well, how do I do that? I'm like, just go side to side. It's like, I don't want to set a lot of rules on this right now. It's like, but that's what everybody thirsts for, and it's like, tell me how to do this. No, I want you to figure that out. I'll give you some nuances and some helping tips, but I want you to explore. I want to, the whole adage of like, I don't want to give you fish, I want you to catch those fish.
Right.
So I don't want you to just be happy with like, put your feet here. It's okay to actually put one foot here. What? When you do push-ups, you can actually put a hand up here. No way. It's just like some of these people, and I don't blame them though, because I'm from that culture of like, that's what you do. You put the barbell on your shoulder, chest is up, and you better make sure you're locked in or else something else is go wrong. Your feet are stable on the floor, and so there's actually, through DVRT, this is some of the stuff they put out, is Josh Henkin was going back on one of these manuals from like the 1920s. Then actually the manual said, if you want to change your squat a little bit, bring both feet so they're shoulder width apart. Which meant prior to that, they were more in a stagger. So I was like, if you want to change it up a little bit,
No kidding. Wow.
put both feet on, don't do a one-legged squat. Put both feet on the ground, see how that works.
Crazy.
And then it's just,
Maybe that could be your next t-shirt is just a simple instruction of how to roll over. Then you won't even have to say it.
right. Roll
Just
over,
roll
back.
Turn your head and reach.
Breathe. Apparently that's what our clients say is our next shirt should be breathe. Because I hate to do the paralysis by analysis, but there are like the simplest things we have to really, everything's neurological here, like not just body-wise, but it's a brain involvement. And so people always talk about like how this is more of a thinking clinic than it is anything else, because somebody's like, oh, my back kind of hurts doing this. Go here. Well, now I got to focus on that, because now my back doesn't hurt anymore. It's like, and so they're always like, where am I going to be? So I hate that aspect about it, but it's like any other skill you learn. Once you got it, it's make it a habit. It works.
But it's doing it right. I mean, that's important too. Instead of, like you said, anyone can make you tired instead of burning people out with crappy patterns. You're doing it the right way. So A, they're performing better. B, they're less likely to get injured.
Well, and that's like the conscious, making them focus and think about it by making their environment different. That kind of goes back to like the learning of the DNS stuff. You learn a pattern, maybe it's been 30 years, you've learned it wrong. In order to relearn it and to pull that old movement manual out of the back corner, you have to keep thinking about it because it won't just respond. You have to overcome that negative pattern until they can, reflexively do it as opposed to having to force it.
I kind of explain it as like a grassy field, and if you drive a vehicle on it, you're going to see those tire tracks in the grass, but then the grass grows back up or comes back and then it goes away. So in order to get that movement pattern, you have to continue to drive back and forth, and then you get the ruts on the road, and then it's a lot easier.
No, that's a great description. I love
Yeah,
that.
on the opposite side, saying you gotta let it recover in between into your workout so you don't drive yourself into the ground.
Okay.
Just on the flip side of that, we use that analogy. It's like a pretty lawn.
Okay.
Yeah, with our football guys and whatnot. Like you can't just keep running over it. You're gonna kill the grass.
Right.
You gotta let that thing regrow, which means you gotta recover.
Yeah.
Sure. So
all kinds of analogies.
Oh, yeah.
In our last podcast, actually, we had a lawnmower parent analogy too. So just
Nice.
Everything comes back to the grass.
yeah. So one of the topics we had on here is movement patterns and why they are so important. So is that kind of what you just said?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, because we want to teach people how to move effectively, and like, you go back to a baby, they don't just sit there and work on like head nods to get their head stronger, like their whole body works together, and so that's the way our bodies just function. And so we teach patterns, and there may be certain body parts that are more overloaded in different patterns than other ones, but it's all about teaching the body how to move together, how to transfer force from lower body to upper body or vice versa. And there's some patterns that work better just to turn things on that are off, and and so you kind of go that way. But yeah, we're all about we're a lot more about patterns than we are about muscles.
Right. Yeah, and muscle memory is actually what is it? Greg Rose, didn't he talk about like muscle memory? Like there's no science behind muscle memory. It's pattern recognition.
Yeah.
There's only so many things you can like do, right? I mean, you can hinge your hips, flex your knees, pivot, push, pull, change your center of mass. Now, those are the things you can do, so there's only a limited amount of that. But now it becomes limitless with your environment, hinge to the side, hinge back, lunge forward, all that kind of stuff, pivot. So you can take all those patterns, and as long as you teach like the fundamental patterns, you can really grow somebody. So then all of a sudden now, like you hear the stories, I love the real life stories, like, it's weird, Cory, I thought about you the other day, I'm like, okay. It's like, I went to my drawer to get a measuring cup, I'm like, all right. And they're like, and I just kind of went like this. I'm like, great. They're like, I hinged. I'm like, awesome. It's like, now you need a sandbag. So, it's just, pattern recognition. That's what we're all about. Yeah, I always like to tell people that we're not such an exercise driven, we're just a movement based. So that's.
So with that, and kind of talking about the system through the dynamic variable, and going back to your quote that anybody can make you tired, like, do you guys have like progressions and workout plans for each person, or is it kind of a global thing, or how does the class set up, or however you guys have it structured? Will be the first one to say I haven't gone through and like dived into everything, but just how you build them up through, or where you start them, and how all that works.
Yeah, and
you can start with the group training first.
Yeah, I mean, because we do two things. One, we talk group training, which is like a class setting up to about 12 people, and then we do semi-private, which is now more personal training, where everyone has an individual program for themselves. Or a group, it's like, this is the group workout. But what we do is, and through using the FMS, we're able to kind of tailor it, where it's like, all right, we're doing these movements today, but if you have ones on your shoulder mobility, you're not doing this, you're doing this instead.
Okay.
And we try to do multiple levels too. Like here's the station here, but here's a level 1, 2, and a 3 variation. So it may be as simple as level 1's just a straight up plank. Level 2 now maybe a plank row. Level 3 we may add something on top of that.
Gotcha.
And so the right clients find what's right for them, and we kind of direct that process a little bit. So you can say, hey, last week you were doing a plank for that, whatever, 30, 50, whatever seconds it was. It looked solid. Let's try a plank row once. And we see how that feel. And if it goes well, keep doing it. If not, do a couple, then go back to a plank. Or squats, same thing. I mean, we can modify squats with load, with foot placement, with whatever. And so we have, in the group format, it's a limited progression range, because you can't just teach in a large group format so many progressions. You have to kind of keep it simple. Let's do these 3 progressions. Here's what we're doing, getting familiar with it. And so just kind of progress. And for our groups too, we go on 4-week phases. So clients can actually, they know last Monday is the same as this Monday. So last week, when I was squatting our, 16K kettlebell, that seemed kind of, or I did it for 8 reps. I'm going to try for 10 this week. Or maybe I'll go up to the 20K and see if I can do 4, just so they have repeatability, because we don't want random workouts where it's just kind of always different, because then how do you measure progress?
Right.
And so let's do phases so they can, and learn too. If you come in here and it's your first time ever working out, and on Monday you did squats and push-ups and band rows, and then but those are brand new to you, and you didn't quite figure them out. And then on Wednesday you come in, and then you don't do anything that looks anything similar to that. How are you going to learn? And the next Monday it's like totally different again. And so people just aren't learning the patterns. So if we can groove them but give them variability, then
Dynamic.
Yeah, month to month. Yeah, dynamic variable.
So
Resistance training.
the next month comes around and you just start a whole kind of different.
But there's a lot of repeats, that's the thing is, one month we might just have straight up ultimate sandbag power cleans, or we might have just goblet cleans with the kettlebell. The next month you might see the same clean, but maybe it's going to be a lateral
movement.
clean, and maybe the month before we were just working on lateral deadlifts, just to kind of, level progressions. So then we just kind of up it a little bit. So I always like to tell people they have to earn their next progression.
Yeah.
It's not like, hey, I'm kind of bored right now. Let's do this and spice it up. It's like, no, it's sometimes it's hard as a trainer, because it's like I don't get bored, but it's like, I just really want to try this with you, and it's like, but I can't because you haven't earned it yet, and
Sure.
and they're usually, and I put a lot of pressure on myself. Most clients are just happy where they are. It's like, as soon as I'm ready to it's like, okay, that looks pretty good. It's time to move on. It's like, I like where I'm at right now. I'm like, but do you think you go up a little bit? Yeah, so, yeah, we just got to find them where they're at. Personal training is kind of the same way, the semi-private. So Anthony predominantly makes the programs for a group. And then I have the responsibility of doing the semi-private personal training program design. And it's all about just taking them where they are. So when they come in for their first session, like some people, we only go through the warm-up. And we do that maybe 3 or 4 times around, and that's a good enough workout for them. And that's just and it's a good ground base. It's all of that stuff we're talking about, rolling, rocking, and it's all developmental. We start on the ground, we end up in a crawl position kind of thing, and the last thing you learn is to stand. So the 4th warm-up exercise is a standing up exercise, actually, getting up off the ground. And some people, like, they're just happy being there, and I just know that that's as far as they need to go, because I'm tired of hearing people come back and like, so sore, I can't even walk, you know? It's like, I don't want that. Some people come in like, yeah, I felt different, like, I felt what I was working, but, you know, didn't kill me.
A little hungry for more then, maybe, too.
I didn't have to hover over the toilet seat to go to the bathroom, you know? It's like, yeah, it's like, wow. And then, you know, we just build that into there, because the old Cory would just want to kill you. I mean, you know, like, oh, I couldn't walk. I'm like, yes, you know, notching the belt. It's like, yeah, you like that? No. It's like, well, you're going to get more of it. You know, it's like, I'm not listening to you. I'm just giving you what I want to give you. So, you know, now it's more about just meet them where they're at and build them up. And, you know, so it's kind of, I tell you, the most challenging client I have is one that comes in, does well on the movement screen, has had a good fitness background. You could tell that they're physically ready to go. And to think, I still have to keep it back. You know, they have to earn their hip hinge with me before we can do power cleans. You know, because I've got some people, like, they have great hip mobility, and as soon as they go into a hinge position, it's like, brrr. It's like, no, let's, you know, and then we find the cues to address it. And then before you know it doesn't take too long either for a lot of people. Hinge, you know, I mean, once you establish that and repeat the pattern and get it, they got it. You know, and then we can just build on top of it. So it's fun.
And like semi-private, I mean, you have basic templates, you know, with movement patterns in it. And so each person, you know, fits in a different, you know, on the progression scale, will be in a different spot of that movement pattern, depending on what they need and what their screen says and what their goals are.
So you'll screen them initially, and then do you screen down the road as well, just to kind of...
We try. I mean, it's tough because, you know, we've got enough clients now, it's only both of us, and, you know, Anthony's got a full-time job at train, and it's like, you know, we got sessions on top of sessions, it feels like, so it's hard to re-screen people. Personal training, I can't. Because like, all right, just come in either a little bit early, or we'll just treat it as your warm-up, you know. But to get people in a group session, that's some of the logistics we're still trying to iron out right now.
And sometimes it'll be kind of more of a spot, like if I know someone has shoulder mobility and that's their only issue, it'll just be like, you know, hey, Susan, come here a second, let's check your shoulder mobility real quick. You know, it's been a few months, and I just want to see how that, you know, correct it. Because like in our groups too, you know, we give everyone 2 basic correctives according to their screen, and that's, we tell them it's homework. It'd be interesting how many people actually do it at home. You know, like,
we could do a stat to find out their improvement. Like, the ones that actually do improve, you've been doing it, right? Yeah. The ones that haven't. You've been doing your corrections at home? No. What were they again?
So that's part of our warm up. Everyone does their correctives in our warm up, just so you know. Because then too, it just kind of should help address things as we go through the workout, make your workout a little bit better. Plus, it helps us kind of realize, you know, like, all right, we're doing that corrective for, you know, 6-12 weeks. Let's check it. You know, working. All right, no, either we have to change something, maybe you're not doing it at home, or maybe we need to get you a different corrective and progress that way.
Yeah, instead of that's the thing is, people just keep doing the same stuff over and over again without, any kind of improvement. Well, it doesn't, I know there's the Albert Einstein quote, I don't know if it's, the quotes, but it's just like, that's the definition of insanity.
Right.
Insane is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So, no. And so it's tough, because it's like, we get complacent, and that's where a lot of I feel like the big gyms fail is, the people come in, they're all excited right away, and they walk on the treadmill, they do a round around the machines, like, wow, it feels good, because that's the first time they did it. And then they're just like the hamster, they just keep same pattern every time. Before you know it, it's like, it's just cool to have the membership now, and then they get tired of it, and it's like, it's more money than they need to be spending. I'm not getting anything out of it anyway. It's like, well, you haven't changed anything, so.
The burnout.
So that's
our.
our.
Recommend a certain amount of days per week that.
Well, I mean, when it comes to physical activity, yeah, we just actually had to ask Anthony all about that. For us, being a training gym that we are, I mean, we recommend 2 to 3 days a week with us. Obviously, the more sessions you have,
strength training focus.
correct. Yeah. I mean, that's not like, we don't want people coming in for 2 hours with us a week and then sit at home and eat ho-hos and be like, I'm not getting any benefit. It's like, well, what are you doing outside of here? I mean, because people have lives. I mean, unlike myself, people actually do stuff outside of here. And so I don't want them to be confined to a gym. I mean, I want them to come in and have a great time, but be able to take that outside. Be motivated to actually, go in the Hickson, go on the Riverwalk, ride your bike, do something else. Find, and that's some of our clients, man. They got all these different things they do. They go to the Y for spin on Monday. They'll see us for group on Tuesday. They'll go to hot yoga on Wednesday. They'll come back on Thursday, Friday, something else with their friends. It's like, that's awesome. That's definitely the cross training that people deserve and should have. So definitely, I mean, we're 2 to 3 times a week, I think. The more sessions you have, the better. Personal training lasts about 60 minutes, where the group session, I mean, people are out of here within 45 from warm up to cool down. It's a boom.
It's focused, It's not a lot of.
No, and it's, what's nice about that too is it's just a priorities. We're just not aimlessly, I'm just like, boom, 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 we got a list here, we're getting it done, and the groups change because of whatever wonderful way that he changes them up time-wise, things like that. So, even though the meat and potatoes of the workout lasts 20 minutes, how are you going to do those 20 minutes? One day it's this many seconds on, one day it's this. And I kind of have a good time in the or when I'm conducting the group sessions during the day when he's not here, is because people are like, this is so hard. And I'm like, who makes them? I'm just here. I'm bringing you around. I
don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah, if you want to yell at me, go to the personal training, but this is all Anthony stuff.
And like going back to the time question too, like you said, we don't want people to have their lives focused on the gym. Like what we do here should really benefit what you do out there. This shouldn't be the whole focus of your life. I mean, if it is and you enjoy it, that's fine. But like if everyone was like that,
that's a 1% population.
Yeah, that's a very, very small percent of people. And so it's like, if you enjoy doing other things, like what we do here should help you do that better. We want to increase the joy outside these walls by what we do inside these walls. And so, I mean, if we've had people even come in like, I want to come like 5-6 days a week. We're just like, what, hold on, like you haven't worked out in like 6 years? Like how about you come in like twice a week and then just start taking like a 5-10 minute walk? I mean, just start and being outside. I wish we'd get more people just to be like, enjoy your time in the gym, but now use that to go outside more, because there's so many benefits, health. We want to think about fitness, like
go
being
climb
outside.
a tree.
Go play in the woods or in the grass or just sunshine or something, because that'll make just increase your joy. And the world needs more joyful people, a lot more joyful people.
I know I get frustrated if my gym sessions go longer than an hour.
Do you?
Yeah, I used to do the gym rat.
Oh, yeah.
Bodybuilding style.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In there for an hour.
2 hours minimum, man.
Yeah.
It's like
all the supplement stuff, and now it's just like, if this is going to take me longer than an hour, I probably don't want to do it because there's something else I want to be doing.
And see,
I need to do it.
for me personally, I actually do the group sessions. So when I do my workout, I'm like, all right, what's the workout today? And it's good because then I get, there's a little empathy for me with the clients, I guess. But then I get a little flow, so I realize like how this will work. But it's just a heck of a workout. And what I like is, the worst trainer you could have is yourself. So there's times where I look at the sheet and I'm like, I don't want to do that. I'm like, but I'm going to do it, you know, and then maybe next week I'll modify it a little bit, just kind of tailor it. It's still the same pattern. Maybe I'll change the implement, or maybe I'll just do it a little different. I won't do it for everybody else in the group, but just think, okay, I feel like doing this a little bit different. But, you know, for the most part, it's just nice to kind of eat the vegetables a little bit and be like, all right. And then, I love doing it because it's a pretty quick boom, 20 minutes. So I do a nice warm up before, hammer that out, and then find a little other time during the day to get out, especially with the beautiful weather, a lot of walking trails. So,
Nice.
You guys got a lot of, from the different things we listed off, and it seems like a bunch of different things kind of incorporated together. Like what are the systems or things that you find most useful and beneficial, / like the people that you follow and kind of incorporate what they do into what you guys do?
I think a lot of it starts with
influencers.
Yeah, a lot of it starts with the FMS. Greg Cookley, Burton. That's where a lot of it. As I progressed, I started like a boot camp business just because going to the Y there was nothing that was exciting as far as like group classes go. They've actually changed quite a bit, but and so I kind of went that route because I wanted something different and created something different, a little more metabolic, high intensity. But then you look at it and you realize that there's better ways to do this, to do fitness, and so you stumble upon the functional movement screen and just kind of that shows you that hey, there's a better way than what a lot of people are doing. So I think that was kind of probably the foundation of a lot of what we do is because it's screening people. Because if you're not assessing, you're guessing, that kind of cliche thing.
No, you can't improve what you don't test.
Yeah. So and
it really, taking the FMS though, like from my standpoint of being like CSCS, all this kind of stuff, and you have to eat a piece of humble pie, because it really makes you rethink what you're doing. Because those same 9 years that I was spending on that job working with the same people, once I finally incorporated the FMS after just much internal resistance, it's like, I'm like, wow, everybody's mobility sucks. It's like, but I've been working with you for 9 years. How could that be? It's like, so you had to do a little check, then rethink about it. Again, you got to eat that humble pie because you could just take the knowledge and be like, all right, that's enough. But and then that's when I started seeing more improvements because I was measuring people, and that was a big eye opener for me, I guess. And that was, because the conferences of Perform Betters is almost like for a while it was like the Greg Cook show. I have a little man crush on Greg Cook. I'm not gonna lie either. The guy's just smart, and I love how he brings it down to your level.
Like that movement book, and it's like, even if you don't agree with him, that's got some really good points.
Right, yeah, and that's what you find
hard
out.
to argue with, man. Right.
And he's just got the talk to back it up, and obviously they got the research and things because there's a bunch of people researching against it. There's some good points that are made against it, Stu McGill, things like that. Right, but it works. It definitely, for the general pop, and it wasn't even created for the general population.
Right.
He made it for high school football players. So it was just, the functional movement screen, the FMS system, and then what really got me at 2 and 2 again. Was it the same Perform Better? I don't know, but
it was things the year after we drove together. Yeah,
because then we're. Anthony really follows more outside fitness than I do, I guess. Sometimes I get in my box and I don't look out. But we're sitting down and I wonder if Greg Cook's going to talk about MoveNat, Erwan Lecour. And I'm like, what the hell's that? He's like, some French guy that's into this natural movement. I'm like, that seems uninteresting. And all of a sudden I'm like, this is cool. I was like, wow. And so I go back home, I'm just everything MoveNat. And so that's the other quote we have on the wall here is, think with your whole body, move with your whole mind. That's an Erwan-ism there. And I just started realizing, like, holy cow, this is... Because I did the FMS on myself. And I was a pretty good mover all the way around. I didn't... I had somebody screen me, but... shoulder mobility. I had an asymmetry. Nothing ones or anything like that. I had a 3-2 asymmetry. And at the time, I just remember, because I share this story with everybody, at the time I was really into barbell overhead pressing. Because just the engagement, you feel strong doing that. But of course, the FMS people would say you shouldn't load pressing with a dysfunction. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to take my humble pie. I'm going to stop doing that right now. And I'm going to start exploring some more of this MoveNat stuff. So I was watching videos, just kind of like learning. So, the videos aren't instructional. Like Erwan's just sitting there doing a movement. Like, you got to watch it, go, play with a little bit, go back, go play with it a little bit. And it did take me 10 months, but finally I got symmetrical both sides, 3s. And I went to that same barbell with the same weight, and I did one press, and it was like, I felt like the barbell was going to go through the ceiling. Like, I had this newfound left shoulder, like, whoa, lat engagement, lat openness, and I was just like, that was insane. So then I really was starting to drink the Kool-Aid then. And that's what got me in trouble with my former business then, was that I was doing a lot more movement stuff. I was still incorporating, like, the worst thing I think you could do is just buy into a system and say, this is all we're doing, tunnel vision.
Yes.
So it's nice to have the FMS, the MoveNet, the DVRT, because they all like hold hands and work well together. It's not like trying to bring in bodybuilding applications. Now, bodybuilders, if you got somebody that wants to get big, obviously bodybuilders know what they're doing. But is it practical?
What the goal is.
Yeah, is it practical for the accountant to get swolled up and all that when he's not competing? He wants to look better. Okay, well, we can still look better and move better. So those are kind of the three main systems.
Yeah, I say DVRT, MoveNet, FMS. I mean, you take little pieces from everywhere.
Yeah,
Right.
There's a lot of people in the field that are smart.
Yeah.
We just hold on to those people and drink whatever they're saying.
And it's really good. I mean, that's why I like Perform Better too, because you can go to a summit and they have 20 speakers, and so you can hit up a majority of them. And you can find someone new, and then it's just kind of like, oh wow, I never really thought about that. And that's what, like Greg Rose, I'm like, oh, I never heard of him before in TPI. And all of a sudden you listen to this and you're like, oh wow, and then he ties in, they do a pre-con with Gray Cook, so now they're kind of integrating like their 4x4 matrix with like the FMS, and
that was a
really
insane one. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, I mean things like everywhere. And then there's a guy who's the strength coach for University of Texas men's basketball.
Right.
I forget his name. Todd Wright. He did a lot of Gary Gray type stuff, but what I heard about. Yeah, like it's just like a 360, like his movement patterns and how he would just modify stuff from all different, your planes of motion. Even like just some stretches. You're like, all right, you're stretching the hip flexor. Now let's modify it in sagittal plane. Now let's modify it in frontal plane. Now let's basically create motion in those planes to get a better stretch. Now let's go transverse, and so in every single thing you could try to stretch or move, and then he goes into locomotion. It just kind of opens your eyes. You're like, oh yeah, like I don't have to skip in a straight line. I can skip in circles. I can skip and rotate. I can skip laterally, and just like the way you can. I mean, the body's made to move in so many ways. Like, and I was so stuck in my tunnel.
Everything's so much sagittal.
Yeah,
sagittal plane.
Absolutely.
I don't remember who told me, but there's that guy talking to somebody who goes, look, the guys I get, I'm paid not to break them. Like, I'm not Division I Texas basketball.
Yeah.
And that's why he focused on a lot of that stuff, where it's just pimping them out and putting the chrome spinners on the back.
Right.
You got delivered to your
Absolutely.
And that was where his focus was, not trying to go and do something that's going to end up potentially compromising the guy's athletic ability, because they're already really, really athletic.
Right. When you do that, then you're out of a job.
Well, yeah, instantly there.
You got this high performing athlete, and you hurt him in the gym because you're trying to do something sexy. It's like,
Right.
see you later.
Yeah.
Welcome to high school.
Polish up the resume. No, I think we hit a lot of these. Any specific mistakes that you see people making generally with fitness and nutrition outside of the general that we've kind of talked about?
Like, is it combined, or are you talking?
Yeah, either.
You're just talking about general pop kind of doing. Yeah. I mean, so the big eye opener for me is my wife is a registered dietitian. And so I know better not to really give nutritional advice. I mean, we can always give the generals, but I mean,
eat more veggies. Eat less ho-hos.
And the problem isn't the knowledge; it's the application. And this is what I have a problem with. Like, I'm going to get on my pulpit a little bit, and maybe it's more of my wife inside of me, because I hear this all, and I'm hook, line, and sinker with what she's talking about, because it's just about moderation. That we don't want to label foods. Like, I have a sparkling water that says 0 this equals innocent. It's sparkling water. I mean, it's like, why would it just befuddles me that we have these labels. I can't eat that. That's bad. What makes it bad? If you eat too much of it, it's going to have some negative effects. What's one slice of cake at a party? It's okay. So I just see a lot of people that they know, and then they have the diet mentality, right? I mean, that's what it is. They have the diet mentality. My wife works with people that are preparing for gastric bypass surgery, and they'll come in and she has them do a food journal, but their food journals aren't meant to be, the specifics. It's more, what time did you eat? what did you eat in general? Why did you eat it? And if you don't know why you ate it, put I don't know. Because it's not about the how much or anything, it's the whys. Why were you eating that?
Yeah.
People come in, I had a quarter cup of chicken breast, a cup of spinach, and it's like all this. It's like, you're not 400 pounds because you're eating this, or bananas, you can't eat bananas because they're going to make you fat because they're white starchies. Really? Bananas are going to make you fat.
A lot of bananas.
Yeah.
It is a lot of. So that's the problem. Is like it's the either or with nutrition. And we want to be sustainable. Like, I want to enjoy a pint of beer. I'm not going to enjoy
Mental health. That's always my argument.
Yeah.
Oh, mental health.
Right.
It's
Right.
really good about
And
it.
there's water in it.
Yeah. Carbs.
Yes.
Recovery.
Carbs are okay. I'm a big fan of carbs actually, just not white starchy. But no, it's just so I just see a lot of people that we try to fix people's food problems, but we don't get to the heart of the matter. It's people's relationships with food. That's what it is. It's more than just eat less, work out more. That's not the problem right now. The problem is like you have a really bad relationship with food. You're eating for comfort. Now, unless you're educated and certified to do so, what makes you an expert to tell people like you shouldn't eat that? That's going to make you fatter or something like that. It's like, no, that's, it'd be the same as, I feel like that's why we have specialists in the field. Is if somebody comes and they have a problem with their shoulder joint that's painful, I'm not going to be in my fitness hat and say, I'm going to fix that for you. Because I can't. That's out of my realm. So I'm going to refer you to a clinician because that's how I operate. And it's so much freedom knowing that I can't help you with that. I'm sorry. You're going to have to go see somebody else. And I really have a problem with people that give out food plans, meal plans. This is that same, we are giving them fish and we're not teaching them how to fish.
Sure.
Because the body needs a variation of essential nutrients. If you go and eat the same thing over and over again, that's not healthy. You need a wide variety of stuff. What's your proteins? Well, it's always ham sandwiches. Well, maybe take out the ham. Why don't you throw in some nuts or something? Put that with a nice whole grain. Get some vegetables and fruits in that balanced portion, and you're going to be more sustained. You're going to have more. You're going to have that satiety level. You're going to be fuller longer because you've blended all the right nutrients. So I just see the big problem is people going either or. It's good or bad. And they just get in this one mindset that they go this way, and it's not sustainable. Before you know it, they're going to fall off the wagon, they're going to binge, like many of the yo-yo diets that we already know. People do these diets, it's successful, and then they're like, hey, I lost my 20 pounds, I'm good, and then on comes another 20 on top of that 20 they lost. So it's just a really touchy subject with me. I don't know, I babble.
But I think, too, I was thinking about, kind of an analogy is like strategy versus tactics. Like we teach so many tactics. If you don't eat breakfast, you're really fast, and which it works. People have seen that it works, but it's not really working for everyone. But you're so focused on like tactics. Well, if I just eat chicken breast every day, that's a tactic. But like, what's your strategy? Like, why do you eat what you eat? Like, how do you feel? Like, how do you feel about food? Like, do you enjoy food, or when you eat, how's it make you feel? And so now it's getting into like a personal, and same with like fitness.
Mm-hmm.
You come in here and if you do 20 push-ups and then if you do 25, then do 30, you're going to progress and get stronger. But like if they hate doing that, they're not going to keep doing it, and that's a bad strategy. It's maybe good tactics, progressive overload, but the strategy may not be good. And so people want success. They need to have a love, or at least an enjoyment of movement, of fitness, and then an enjoyment of how they're eating. At least eating in an appropriate manner. I can enjoy eating a whole pan of brownies, but afterwards, at the moment, but afterwards I don't. But like a long term, like something. Brian Kahn is he's like a bodybuilding coach, and he had a post about that too. Just like if you want to see success in clients, he's like they have to start to enjoy the process. And that's something we tell people. It's a lot more about the process than about the product right now. Start to enjoy the process and find an appropriate process, and then you'll see success. But if you just focus on the end result only and do whatever you can to get there, then that's when you start to run into problems and issues and stuff. We're such a microwave society, we need to be a lot more slow cooker. Let it just slow cook and go instead of I want it now, I want it.
The long-term approach.
Yeah, exactly.
But nobody wants that because it's I want to lose 20 pounds by next month. Good luck with that.
It takes work.
Yeah. I can cut off your right arm. There you go.
Yeah, there it is. Done.
20 pounds.
I'll even give you some bandages.
Yeah.
If you go into the icing concept, you cut off the right arm, realize.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Another podcast, we'll link that one in.
All right.
You had any questions?
Yeah. Kind of cover anything else you guys wanted to kind of cover broadly that we didn't touch on?
You look at me like I have something to talk about?
No.
I mean, I usually do.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll spur something.
Yeah,
off
something
of
comes
your
up,
questions
but-
will come.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've got the gist of the gym, the history of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just trying to bring enjoyment back to movement. That's what we try to do. You know, we don't want people to see exercise as a chore. We want to see people to see movement as an opportunity. You know, and I always try to talk about that is find that opportunity. I know it sounds really funny, but when I go out for like my afternoon walk, there's like 3 huge concrete blocks. And so every now and then I'll hop on one, I'll hop over the other one, and then I'll jump over to the ledge, and then I'll either walk or run instead of using the sidewalk, because it's just like, yeah, different. You know, might get some weird looks, but that's nothing new. You know, but just finding different opportunities to move around, you know, whatever I can do to change it up a little bit. So we just try to have a good time.
Yeah, and like just the enjoyment thing too. You know, I think it has to start young. You know, when you're a kid, I mean, most kids are extremely active because they're just playing. You know, like adults lose that. You know, just from a lot of things in society. But you know, like let's start playing again, and let's make fitness something that is play, that is enjoyable. Because then, if it's enjoyable when you're 10, and you can keep it enjoyable when you're 15, and when you're 20, now you're an adult and you see movement as joy, as something that's to be enjoyed and play, as opposed to I need to punish myself in order so I can lose this weight, you know. And now exercise is punishment, and there's negative connotation. Where if it's always been enjoyable and always been play based, now it's something like, you know, I should play a little more, you know, and then it long term, I think society wide, that's a more beneficial thing for people.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Well, what is something you believe that others may not? I think we kind of hit some generals, but if there's anything specifically, it doesn't have to be fitness related either.
I had this conversation with a client yesterday, actually. Not a full conversation, but it came to thing I believe that Destiny Child is better than Beyonce solo. So, and maybe, you know, like, I was just like, you ever seen that Saturday Night Live sketch? Where it's like, some guy said, you know what, just don't think Beyonce's that good. And like, people just start like, beating him, you know, like, just like abusing him. I was scared to say it, actually, you know, just like, I had a client, like, can we get a Beyonce song on the playlist? I'm like, sure, you know, pick one. I picked it, and it played, and she's like, wasn't that really pumped up? And I was just like, no, like, it didn't. Like, I mean, we have different tastes, but I'm just kind of like, yeah.
Oh shoot, I came in on the wrong end of that. I was kind of slamming this. Oh no.
But you know, it's just kind of like, it's like, oh, it's an unpopular thing. I don't think Beyonce is as great as everyone says she is.
Just a disclaimer. He said that.
I know, I'm gonna put my back now and walk down the street.
I think Beyonce's pretty good. Okay, well that was. I mean, now I can't follow that up.
Yeah, it's hard to.
Right. I got nothing. I mean, something that I believe that other people might not. Yeah.
Going for a walk over obstacles is more fun than a walk on the sidewalk.
Oh, that's just a given.
Yeah.
Everybody believes that.
It's like we go to Myrick Park with our kids, you know, and they have that huge
Oh, yeah.
jungle gym play area, and they're off running around, you know, and like my wife wants to like sit and just kind of talk, you know, and I'm like hopping from like bench to bench, you know, and like hopping over like little walls.
Yeah.
She's just like, can you just stop for a little while? I'm just like, but it's a playground, you know, like this is what we're supposed to be doing.
This is my oldest son,
Yeah.
Anthony. Yeah, no, it's time to break out and, you know, go beyond the rules and restrictions of fitness. You know, that's where it just really drives me nuts, because it sounds so like dramatic, but I was chained to that whole mentality. Like, you got to put your hands here when you bench press. You got to do this. You can't have one side be heavier than the other side. No way. You know, so it's like you just got to think outside that box, explore and have fun. That's where I'm at. Some people believe that, some people don't.
Sure. There you go. You guys had some take-home tips that you want to give to the audience. What would they be? Maybe a couple each, or if you had your own set of 3.
Okay, I got it.
Go ahead.
All right, good. Number 1, sleep. Find your rest. Because I'll tell you, for me, as the business was starting and all that, I wasn't sleeping, and I just felt like crap, you know. And I started gaining weight, things like that. And I mean, there was more things to it than just that. But I made sure, like at night, like I don't really touch my computer. Keep that off. Play with the kids. Read a little bit, and I try to find rest time for 7 hours. That means I have to go to bed earlier. That's fine. I just get up a little earlier now, and I'm more productive in the morning.
Yep.
So there's that. Now, speaking on that nutrition thing, though, because, like, it's not a nutrition tip, but eat slower.
Oh, yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Sit down and eat. You know, that's the one thing that I found out, too, was when I sat down and I didn't have any distractions in front of me, and I actually enjoyed my meal. Like, you know, my wife, it's mindful eating. It's take a bite, set the fork down. We'll use her term, masticate. You know, enjoy the flavor. It's like, yeah, right. And then I think my third take-home tip is don't wear shoes so much.
I like it.
So, follow that up.
I know, that's good. Yeah. I'd be honest with you with those three, it's like reverse. And I mean, I don't know if I really give tips that anyone would really find like new or real useful. You know, I tell anyone, to be honest, like, if put a pull-up bar in your house. You know?
And you got one.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, like, for me, like, you know, so I have a full-time job. I help run this gym. I volunteer for an organization. I spend about 20 hours a weekend. I have 3 kids. And so, like, workouts are at, you know, workout time is kind of the bottom of the barrel. And so it's like, incorporate movement into your life. So, like, and create habits. You know, like when I go down and take a shower, like I do a set of push-ups before I take a shower. I do a set afterwards. You know, and it's you can say like, oh, big deal, Anthony, do a set of push-ups, but like over the course of a year, you know, like that's several thousand push-ups I just did. Same with like pull-up bars in my bathroom. I do 5 pull-ups, and then I brush my teeth, and then I do 5 more, then I go get, you know, like just make your life more easy that you can just move. You know, and not that I'm working out, I'm not getting sweaty, I'm just moving. You know, kind of that whole grease the groove type concept, you know, I just do a few quality reps and just incorporate it. So that's what I would say. I mean, put a pull-up bar in your house. That's one. I was going to do the barefoot one too, but I figured you'd probably take that. But I'd say, you know, like I'd say just play more sports. That's something we lose, I think, is just the enjoyment of games. And games can look different ways. They don't have to be ball sports. They could be just silly games, playground games, but just play more.
Be a kid.
Yeah, be a kid. Exactly.
Kids have it so well.
Yeah. Oh, man.
You know, just a small side story is that my daughter, she's in 3rd grade, my oldest, and they'd bring a parent to school day. And so I brought an ultimate sandbag and I brought one of our maces, you know, and all the kids like, wow. And I told them, like, you know what, adults don't like to play anymore. They're like, what? You know, it's like adults don't like recess. Adults don't. I'm like, yeah, it's sad, you know. It's like, so we give them sandbags now.
That's hilarious.
So yeah, just, I mean, those kids, they got it, you know. We don't have to. My daughter is asking about when she can work out here. It's like, not for a long time, sweetheart, because you just keep playing that unstructured play you do with your friends, and you're going to have a lot more fun than if daddy tells you to do 10 reps.
Right.
You know, so it's like, I want to be back there. I want to jump around.
I'll come here with my kids and, you know, like maybe I'll grab a workout quick, you know, but they're just playing, you know, and they're putting the 2x4s on the ground and trying to crawl on a balance beam. They're throwing things at each other, you know, like they might pick up something, you know, kind of for fun, but they're just playing tag.
Yeah, it's like self-limiting too, you know, they try to pick up a heavy sandbag, it's not working.
Yeah.
So then they go down the line, oh, can't pick that one up. Oh, I got this one, you know, so yeah, it's just, being a kid, exploring, having a fun time.
Yeah. I'd say 3rd tip is just make life more manual. You know, like so many things we do are done for us to make life more easy or easier. You know, like how often do you just kind of wheel your carry-on behind you? Carry it. You know, like you want to use a cart or something, like carry something instead. You know, like make life more manual. You know, my wife has a habit of, say we have something upstairs we want to put in the basement, you know, she'll just, say we're cleaning or organizing, she'll kind of stack up multiple things. So she makes one trip down the stairs, puts it all there, comes back up. Where I'm like, she's like, let's go downstairs. I'm like, okay, I got it. And she's like, well, wait. I was like, no. I was like, I'll go down, I'll come back up. You know, like, because I'm more active that way. I grew up on a farm, and so like I kind of crave manual labor and physical activity. Right. But I mean, some people avoid physical activity and just little things, you know. And they say taking the stairs. I mean, just take the stairs, carry your stuff, and just things like that. So that'd be the third tip, I guess.
Amen.
What's the most influential purchase for $100 or less? It can be fitness or otherwise. And
My
I know
book.
Anthony is probably
My book. I don't have a book.
Yeah.
It's not a Beyonce CD.
Yeah, Beyonce CD is the best thing you could ever get. I love you, Beyonce.
She's gonna listen to this
I know.
too.
We'll tag her on it.
Yeah. Yeah, so my question.
$100 or less, and it doesn't have to be fitness.
It can be fitness.
It can
that
be
helps.
Yeah.
Because I saw that question on your thing, and the obvious answer for me is the ultimate sandbag.
I wouldn't have guessed that. I
Yeah.
think that's
My mom, she bought an ultimate sandbag. She sent me a picture yesterday. It came in the mail. She's like, "It feels like Christmas." I was like,
Do you get one for under 100?
"Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah?
yeah." I mean, the bigger they come,
Yeah, small ones you want to.
I think the power bag, yeah, because you got the core, power, strength, burly. So at least for the, that can go a long ways, and there's just so many things that you could do with it. But I don't know, thinking fitness, man, bands work well. It's just, but you got to use your imagination because people see a band and all they see is like one or two exercises.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so much more you can do with it.
Sure.
And I think that's underutilized a lot. I mean, you see it more in in the athletic world, people using bands, but like in regular fitness, because all of a sudden you're adding a horizontal vector to anything. I think bands are, and then the accommodating resistance that comes with it. It's pretty good.
Yeah, for me, I feel like that would be the ultimate sandbag over the bands, but then bands, because you can buy a smaller bag and you can still have some money left over.
There you go.
Yeah,
Utilize it
and
all.
seriously, if you go to you can buy a set of bands, like kind of a small, medium, large, together for like $50 total, and now you can travel with it. Each one weighs like half a pound. You fold it up, throw it in your carry-on or whatever.
Attach it to something sturdy and
Yeah.
have fun.
Yeah.
There you go. Book recommendations?
Last year, my favorite book I read was Extreme Ownership by
Good one.
Jocko Willink and
Yeah.
Leif Babin. So that's a great one and even anyone should read it. It doesn't mean you have to be a leader, but it's just how to be a better person, I think. Take accountability for yourself and your actions and for those who you have an influence over. I think that's a lot more than you realize, your kids, even coworkers, whatever the case may be. And even how to respond as someone who has accountability over you. It's a good one. I like, The Power of Habit, Charles Duhigg, I forget how to pronounce his name. But it's basically about how do you create habits to overcome things.
Yep.
That's a good book. What would be another one? I read one last year called, what was it? Smarter, Faster, Better, I think, because it's those three words. I forget which order they're in. But it's just how to take situations and overcome them, how to do them better. So it's interesting reading. He uses stories and he tells the story first, and then he explains the story afterwards, and he'll kind of cut in and out about how to analyze data, how to overcome problems, how to deal with sensory overload, and how we focus on things. Why did this airplane crash when they had a minor malfunction, and this one landed when their wing blew up? Because of how they analyzed.
I like the checklist manifesto. Talks a lot about that.
Okay.
The importance of checklists. And
Yeah.
how it's worked for certain things. And uses
Yeah.
a lot of arrows. It's written by an MD.
Okay,
That's where
checklist
it started
manifesto.
with, but he talks a lot
Yeah.
about airlines and how
And this
people
one,
died by it.
yeah, this one was, it was more of having mental models, and so if you know what's right, then when it's wrong, you can identify it a lot better, and so kind of spoiler. So there's an airplane that, real complicated, big jet airliner, it's like an Airbus 380 or something. When you get high enough, one of your sensors will freeze, so you don't know how fast you're going. So alarms go off, and it's so sophisticated, all these alarms go off, and they didn't know what it was exactly, and they kind of figured out, let's go down so it gets warmer, but the guy, because he's overwhelmed, ended up pulling up instead, not knowing he did, and then it just basically kind of snowballed, and the whole thing crashes in the middle of the ocean, and a few hundred people die, because a sensor that's not even necessary for their operation froze up, and the alarms just froze them, and they couldn't analyze what's going on. Other story is the guy's whole engine blew up, but because he had mental models, and they had rehearsed as crew, the pilots and co-pilots, if something bad happens, what do we do? And they rehearsed it, and so they knew what a good landing was, even though he had didn't have the ability to land properly. He used to fly simple planes, little Cessnas. Yeah. And he's like, he thought back, this was a Cessna, how would I land it? And so he had the mental model of what to do, and he was able to land it, and no one was hurt or injured. And they said it was the most damaged plane they've ever seen land, without crashing, in the history. So it was. Yeah, it's an interesting book. So I think it's Smarter, Faster, Better. Yeah.
That sounds interesting.
Actually, it's the current book I'm in right now. I haven't finished it, but it's called Resisting Happiness. It's kind of like one of those, I know about this, but I need to, identify things, right? So, people know what makes them happy. So why do they keep doing things that make them unhappy? So it's identifying that, and what he defines as resistance. So the resistance is anything that prevents you from achieving goals, right? So Facebook, laziness, all this different stuff where it's you have something to do, so I'm just not going to do it right now, but doing that thing is going to make you happy, so why are you, because resistance wants you, it's and that's the battles that, as soon as you wake up in the morning, it starts with the snooze button. You hit the snooze button, you're already giving into resistance. So I'm really enjoying that book. I don't get the opportunity to read as much as I would like, but that's a good one right now. It's kind of just an uplifting, just follow what makes you happy, to know that resistance does win some battles, but don't let it win the war. So right now I think that would be, just because it's on my shelf. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. I think we kind of covered the making the complicated simple.
Ask it if you want.
The question is, in your area of expertise, how would you make what you do that is complicated simple? And I feel like that's kind of what you guys are all about, is kind of simplifying things.
Yeah, boy, do we ever. I mean, it's so funny how people are like, this is so simple. It's it doesn't have to be complicated.
One good example, I think, was with the sandbags. Teaching someone to hinge and trying to get lat engagement, and good posture and stabilization through their spine. It's you tell them, we want you to, engage your lats, or do all these things, all these tricks and tips, and people it can get complicated. People don't understand what you're talking about. But if you grab these sandbag handles, say, I want you to pull the handles apart as hard as you can, and then that's simple, So external cues, and using your environment. The environment made them do that, just by you have to move against your environment. The environment made you engage.
And then they learn that cue, and then when they have something that doesn't have fancy little handles, how can they still do that? Mm-hmm. So we really, that's the compliment we get too, is just how simple things are, but yet they're not easy. Mm-hmm. Simple doesn't need to be easy.
Right.
So we don't want to complicate with, we have a lot of cool looking things. We have a lot of complex drills that we give people, but again, they have to earn it. It's not like day one you're going to come in, hey, I want you to do this spin thing, lunge down, come back up, press out on one leg. That's pretty cool, but let's first work our way up there. So it's kind of fun when we get, especially in the semi-private realm, when we get a new client that comes in and they're just busy rolling on the floor and rocking, and then they see one of our more expertise clients doing some of the advanced stuff, and they're like, well, I'll never be able to do that. And those are the famous last words, because then a year later they're like, I told you I wasn't going to be able to do this, and now you're going to have me do it. I'm like, you're ready. And they are. They're actually I feel like right now I could do that. And then they do it, and they're like, I did it. It's I know. I have more faith in you than you have in yourself. So, it's a blessing to work here and to see the improvements that people experience, not just here, but to hear the stories outside of here. That's what keeps the ball turning for me.
For sure.
All right, last one.
You can go back 10 years, 15 years, what you guys set the setting for that, and tell yourself anything in your training or your education or whatever it is, what would it be?
Squatting on a stability ball is not functional.
Amen. Yes.
Get off that damn ball, Cory. You did great, you had great form, but you learned nothing.
What do I tell myself? I'm trying to... I would say it's more everything that happens, you control your response. And so you can't control what people do to you. but you control how you respond to what they do to you. And just how, everything that happens, it is a choice. And so if I think about things that I regret, it's because I chose to do something that was either unwise or was the easy way out. And so so you realize that everything you do has a consequence to it, and you chose that consequence by doing that action. And so it's easy to be like, well, I want to be lazy and avoid things. And so tell them that like everything you do has a consequence, and you choose that consequence. And so you need to choose, to just tell our kids that, when they do something disobedient, then they get a consequence for it. And like, you realize, what happens when you obey, what happens when you disobey. There's a consequence, right? You chose a consequence. Same thing, tell myself when I was in college or whatever, when I was first getting married, everything you do has a consequence to it, and I choose that consequence by doing my actions.
Dang, the way you said that story, I want to get a DeLorean and go 10 years back and see what you did.
It's probably nothing real big, but it's just
I know, it's just
an accumulation.
But it's like, all of a sudden, this is getting deep, man.
Yeah, it's an accumulation of
Another
things.
layer of the onion off.
Yeah.
I gotta call Doc Brown, get him a DeLorean.
There you go.
Check it out.
Get the dirt.
Yeah.
All right. Well, where can people find you?
Facebook, huge. Fitness Line Down. We like to put more content out there, but we really got a lot of videos going on. We have the Ask Anthony, kettlebells and coffee. I'm kind of gonna introduce another one next Monday. So I've already said in the video, like, I don't know if I can do this weekly, but every now and then I'll have a little inspiration. I got another little kind of video tip going on. But Facebook is huge. We have a web page too, but
fitnesslinedown.com.
Yeah, pretty simple there. So yeah, that's where they can find us electronically. If not, after they're done at Pearl Street Brewery, they can just walk a little bit more east.
Yeah.
Go through the doors, come upstairs.
Or vice versa. Maybe that can be the recovery drink.
There you go.
Workouts.
I always talk about Gator Ale. It's not bad. It's actually, there's some science behind some good old barley and all that stuff.
I've seen a research study or two on that, I'm not gonna lie.
Small amounts, of course, but
Moderation.
Yeah,
we talk about.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Everything in moderation, including moderation. So, basically, find us on Facebook, and we're right in the heart of La Crosse. That's what we love about our location. It's how central we are.
Yeah, definitely.
And you're close to a brewery.
There's that, yeah.
Well, thanks,
Totally
guys.
coincidental.
Yeah, I can believe it.
Sounds good. Thank you much.
Thank you
That's
guys.
really
Excellent.
It was a lot of fun.
Thank you for checking out this episode of Clinically Pressed. Go to clinicallypressed.com for full show notes and links to everything that was covered in this episode. While you're there, you have access to all of our episodes, insights, and shorts. You can find Clinically Pressed on YouTube and any podcast outlet. If you could give us a rating, thumbs up, or review on how we are doing, we would greatly appreciate it. To get more free content delivered to your inbox, sign up for the Total Athletic Therapy newsletter. You'll get direct links to all new Clinically Pressed episodes, reviews on some of the latest research in health and performance, and links to related podcasts and other items meant to help you make the complicated simple and optimize performance. Thank you for listening, and see you next episode. Well, yeah, that sounds good. I love that shirt, by the way. Those are great cues. And it's
Told you.
simple.
I know,
All of
I know.
your shirts are awesome.
Yeah.
Like your whole video, like we hit the friends don't let friends have
Yeah.
lunch.
Oh.
Loved it.
Yeah.
I went to see that, and he shared it, and then I happened to see it on there, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, amen. Really.
We just like-
refreshing to just hear it.
I like the conversational pieces, like the I Love Sandbags that we have. That's a pretty popular shirt of ours. And then what's great is that, people wear them about.
Right.
And so, I get a lot of people like, one of our clients, she plays pickleball at the Y. And she was wearing her I Love Sandbag shirt. One of these like, really? She's like, sandbags? And it's just like, it's a conversational piece.
Right, yeah.
People wearing them in airports. I've heard stories about, TSA, like giving them, grief because, in a friendly, playful way, because it's like, hey, sandbag person, come over here. Just like, so it's just, I don't know. It's fun if they're wearing them out. This is one shirt that, kind of a prototype, see how it goes. And yeah, I just like it because
Yes, clients responded well to it.
right. I'm just like, hey, you over there. And they're like, yeah, right.
Save your breath, you know,
Right.
right here.
So it's just funny but then when you wear it and you say it, it's just like I feel kind of sheepish. It's like, all right, you guys, let's put our ribs down, but tight. So I mean, we've heard of guys and people that are like, when those shirts come out, I want one. So it's just having a good time.
Yeah, nice. I like it.